romantic compatibility category.
Wow.
I know. I saw that.
You're going to have to reach out.
He's married. I did my research.
Is he married?
Yeah.
To whom?
I cannot remember her name, but they're very cute together, and they live in a Brooklyn loft, because I also Googled that, because I was like,
that
Mr.
sounds
Sarah.
Really nice.
I know.
I'm happy for him, I guess.
I know. But, like, low-key, that should be me, so.
Absolutely.
I doubt she has a soulmate compatibility with him on the pattern, so.
He has to, like, block you because he keeps sending this screenshot. He's like, I get it. That doesn't fucking mean anything. I got a chair that spins.
Oh my god, I like it.
It's white. So
your gamer chair?
It's my gamer chair. I was sitting on, like, a wooden dining room chair before.
Yeah.
Because we just recently got space for an office, so we didn't really need a chair, but it's pretty nice. It's gonna be hard for me not to, like, spin around all the time.
I keep my toes, like, tucked underneath the bottom of my mattress, and so if I, like, move it slightly, it will move the entire frame. But it's fine. This is good. This is, like, you know, low income podcast setup. It's beautiful.
That's all we need. Welcome to the Lonelycast. I'm Brittany.
I'm Abigail.
And, what are we talking about this week?
Well, it's episode 5, and we are talking about shitty jobs, shitty employers, shitty coworkers, you know, all things work, employment. Also, I feel the need to mention the fact that I'm wearing a clickbait hat. I do not support David Dobrik.
Cancelled.
I received this hat as a gift, like, quite a few years ago, and I'm wearing it because I think that David Dobrik is probably the shittiest employer of them all, if not one of the most shitty employers.
Okay, we'll let it slide.
So I thought it was very symbolic, and it fits my head well. So I used to really like David Dobrik, but obviously not anymore.
Yeah, I did too, but, like, I realize now just how not great a lot of his content was.
Yeah. 2016, 2017, I was, like, absolutely rancid vibes. Turned my brain off, consumed that shit like nothing else. So, I don't know. It's over now, kind of. Not really, but.
I mean, I, like, mainly watched his vlogs for Heath and Zane. And I still watch, like, their podcast and stuff. I mean, I feel like the entirety of the Vlog Squad is not, innocent.
No.
In all of this, but, I mean, they're just trying to make some money.
That's true. That's true.
You got this super rich friend.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'll do whatever you want me to do if you're gonna give me a shit ton of money.
Literally. Oh my god. Anyways, enough about David Dobrik.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about him.
Screw that guy.
What was your first job?
I worked at McDonald's. Well, unless
really?
you count babysitting, but I fucking hated babysitting.
Yeah.
I also hated working at McDonald's, don't get me wrong. But
how long did you work there?
Literally, like, 3 months. And I think I quit by just, like, handing off. I didn't even know who my manager was, really, or who I should have handed off my 2 weeks notice to. But I, like, gave it to somebody, and then I was like, all right, bye. And then I don't think I ever got scheduled after that day. And I still have my uniform at my dad's house, I think. I think the reason why I quit is, like, the hats that they gave us to wear and just the environment. Like, I hated it so much. I had so much anxiety, and I'd always have, like, really bad headaches because of the hat. Like, it was just, like, squeezing my head too tightly. I don't know. And the noise.
This is a very hat-heavy podcast so far.
Rate all the hats that I ever wore for jobs.
No, I feel that though, because I had in my first job I had to wear like a really like ugly and just uncomfortable hat, and I hated it.
What was your first job?
I worked at Rexall Place, so like the stadium where I live. It's being
Wait, how
torn
old
down,
were you?
I think 14.
Ah, yeah.
It was kind of a bad. I feel like it should have been, even just like 16 and up to be able to work there, because just so many drunk people, really late hours. Mm-hmm. I don't think I should have been working there at 14.
No, that would be like
it was a lot of fun.
Very weird experience. What was the, like, consistently, I guess, like, what's the thing that always changes your mind about a job or makes you enjoy a job? Like, if you
coworkers.
have a really shitty job, yeah.
It's always coworkers. I've stayed at shitty jobs for a really long time, just for really great coworkers.
Yeah.
But I've also like had like really bad management and coworkers that make me hate the job and want to leave. I've had both ends, so I think that's like the deciding factor for me.
Yeah. How many jobs have you had in like your working career? And should we like go through all of them?
I mean, it wouldn't take that long to go through all of them. I think I've had 6.
Okay.
Rexall was the first one. It was a lot of fun, but also like kind of scary.
Yeah.
This wasn't in like a very great area, as well as I'd be there, which is so illegal. I would be there till like 1 a.m. sometimes.
Oh my god!
And I was 14.
Wait, so what did you do at Rexall?
I got hired on as a condiment station attendant.
What?
I only did that. So around the stadium, there's like condiment stands, and so it was like my job to go refill napkins and like condiments and stuff. And I did that for 2 shifts, and I was like, this sucks. So they were like, okay, we'll put you in a concession stand, and I was like, sick. The good thing though about the condiment shifts were you didn't have anyone like overseeing you, like you weren't like accounted for, so like you could just go and sit and like watch the game or the concert that was going on and no one would know. Putting chips in a tray and then pouring like salsa and cheese. But I guess I made them super good, and this guy came back 3 times during a hockey game to talk to me. Keep in mind, I'm 14, okay? Braces, unibrow. Like, the uniform was disgusting. It was, like, this collared, like, long sleeve, black dress pants, and then this black hat, and you had to have your hair up. So I looked like a 12-year-old boy. But this guy was just so amazed by these nachos I made him. So he kept coming back to talk to me, and then... God. I guess he had, like, season passes, so I didn't work in the same concession every shift.
Yeah.
But I was on my lunch break, and my coworker was like, this guy came, like, looking for you. And I guess he, like, repeatedly would, like, ask around for me.
That's really fucking creepy.
I was like, those nachos are not that good.
No.
This is like some gross cheese in a bag and like chips that have been sitting out. I'm like, they were that life-changing for you?
Oh no.
Outside of that though, it was a pretty fun job. I think the only like really bad experience I had was I worked with these 2 chefs. So we had regular concessions and then we had like fancy concessions, and you wanted to work at the fancy ones because you get tipped.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so there's like a sort of like VIP lounge, so they had like smoked meat sandwiches and stuff, so you wanted to work there for sure. But there's also it sounds so goofy, nachos in a helmet.
Okay.
They had like this little helmet, and
you could
buy nachos in it. And I worked at that stand with these 2 chefs, and this one guy, we'll call him Dave. was just like pretty weird. He was really old, and he was just telling me about how he used to be in a band and like travel the world and do a bunch of drugs. And I was like, I'm 14, sick. But he was really nice for like majority of the shift. And the other guy was, we'll call him Chris. He was just quiet. He was really nice, but he just wasn't really talking much. So things went downhill when these two guys came up to the stand and just super drunk. And they asked for like, I think they had leftover chips and just like wanted some more like salsa or something. Like something not that big of a deal. And I think they came over and like complimented me before asking, like just, you know, like just being funny, like, oh, hey, gorgeous, think you could like give us a little more salsa? And I was like, yeah, I don't care, go ahead.
Yeah.
And they walked away, and then Dave was like, you're just gonna, he's like, you can't let guys just like butter you up and give them what they want. And I was like, what?
Why?
And then I forget what else he said, but he ended up like calling me a slut. I'm 14, this guy's like 60. And I was like,
shit.
Okay, sick, cool, whatever. And then like later on, another group of guys came asking for like something extra. And before I could even respond, he like started freaking out. He's like, you guys can't just get things for free, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you can't give them stuff for free. I was like, I didn't even respond. And he started like screaming and freaking out.
Oh my God.
I had to like run and go get a supervisor, but I was just like, did not want to go back to work after that because I was like, what a freak. But yeah, Rexall, aside from that, was really fun.
Oh my God. Fuck
but I don't
Dave.
know. I know. I was like, I don't know what switched because like he was so friendly for like the first chunk of the shift, and he was just like, I was like, this doesn't come out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Like all of the food that we don't use gets thrown out.
His ex-wife was probably like an ex-condiment lady, and she ended up leaving him for a guy who wanted extra salsa. I'm sure that's like probably where that came from, unfortunately.
I don't know.
14-year-old you is taking the brunt of that trauma.
Yeah, I was like, what? Who hurt you, man? Like, why did that get you so riled up? It was so
guys
bizarre.
Who wanted extra nacho cheese.
But just
they
he's
hurt
like,
me.
He thought that I was like, oh, these guys called me pretty, I'm gonna give them something for free. It's like, no, they asked for extra salsa, and we have this big tub of salsa. Like, I don't know. It was so fucking funny.
Oh my God.
Have you had did you have any bad experiences at McDonald's? I'm assuming there's some shitty customers there.
I mean, honestly, not that I remember. Like, that was such a blur for me because I'm really bad with jobs. Like, whenever, for the first like few months of a new job, I am just riddled with anxiety. I like don't talk to anybody. I can't enjoy myself. I just like head down, do the work, like leave, and hate every moment that I'm there. And it's been that way literally my entire life. That's never gone away. Doesn't matter like what job I'm working in or anything like that. It's just this bad anxiety. So I don't really remember McDonald's because I don't think I ever got out of that phase. I cleaned a lot. They like put me as like, they would book me as lobby, which is basically just like cleaning tables and like changing garbages. And then I did cash a lot. But the job after that, it was a couple years later because I was like 13 or 14 when I had the one at McDonald's. And then when I was in high school, I think it was like grade 11 maybe, I got my first cafe job as a barista, and I did that for like 7 months or something.
Nice.
But it was like this, it was the only like independent local cafe in Spruce Grove, aside from like obviously like Starbucks and like Second Cup and stuff like that. So I was like, I want to work there because that's real barista work. Why was I like such a douche from like such a young age? Whatever. So I ended up getting this job at the cafe, but like the guy who owned the shop and opened it was just like such a dickhole. And like, first of all, like, I'm not a huge coffee snob, like actively a huge coffee snob about a lot of things. Like, I'll usually keep it to myself. Mm-hmm. And like, even if someone says something to me that's like not correct, I'm not gonna like correct them about it just because it's not worth it, because everyone thinks they're right in that realm anyways. Mm-hmm. But the owner of this coffee shop, who was like, I went to California and trained with the pros, called espresso Expresso. And it was the most infuriating thing because, like, at least, like, if you're gonna be like snobby about coffee, and if you're gonna be like, I trained with like professional baristas and I go to all these conventions, and then call espresso Expresso literally every single time you say it, there's something wrong. But he had like a really bad temper, and so like I had regular work anxiety. That job was great because it like introduced me to like making coffees and making food and stuff like that, and doing all the prep and baking. But he like, if he came in and saw that you did something like that was slightly wrong, like, you know, in like on like prep lines, how you have like those coolers of like condiments and things that you can like, I can't even describe this properly. There's like a door that like opens and shuts on it. It's not like a regular fridge. It's just kind of like slides. It's kind of like a hood, and it slides close and open.
Like kind of like at convenience stores, like the popsicles where they put those. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Similar to that. But it like had all the stuff for making like sandwiches and paninis and stuff. And if we got into a rush, sometimes I would like have to make sandwiches, put them in the toaster, and then like, or put them in the panini press, and then turn around and like help out on bar and make coffee. And sometimes I would forget to close the cooler. I'm human, okay? But every time he would come in and he would see it was open in like a rush, or like if you turned away from it and forgot to close it, he would just start screaming. Like, this man, I don't know if it was because he owned the cafe and thought that like it was his dominion and he could do whatever he wanted. Like, okay, fair enough. But he would just like scream, and not only at me, like he screamed and like got into like huge yelling fights with like all of the staff. He only hired like teenage girls too, which is like,
concerning.
I mean, yeah, but like
he would yell like in front of customers.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Which I fucking hate that. Like, I don't know. It's just dumb. It makes you look so dumb. Mm-hmm. And so he just had all of these teenage girls on staff and would like verbally abuse us like every single weekend. But yeah, I guess that was when he was like mostly in anyways. But like, I don't know, it was just like, it was so weird because he would like kind of flirt with like some of the girls, but he was also married and his wife and kids were constantly around. His kids were also jackasses. Like, fuck those kids, honestly. But yeah, no, I think it's still like up and running in Spruce Grove. Still one of the only like local independent coffee shops there. So
should we leave a bad review?
No, honestly, let them live. They've got enough competition with Starbucks Second Cup. It's Spruce Grove, so I mean, There's not a lot there to begin with. But yeah, that guy was weird. During high school, I also worked at like an outdoor store. I worked at Atmosphere. I met like one of my best friends there. Well, I have a story from that place too, but it's quick. We had this manager who was like significantly older than us, and like I said, like my friend and I, we were in high school. She was a year younger than me, so she would have been like 15 at this time. He was like really nice to us. He really liked us. He would always like book us the same shifts and stuff because he knew that we got along, and it would just be like the two of us in like the clothing section of the store. And then he would also book it so that we would be working on the nights that he was working because we all got along and it was just like a fun time. But he consistently flirted with my friend. Like, and like had her number and would like text her and stuff. But this one time she ended up getting a text from him that was just like a recording of him. It was a recording of him like singing a cover of a song. I think it was like a James Blunt song or something like that. Like he sent it to her and was
That's
like,
better than anything I was guessing.
he was like, hey, what do you think of this? And oh my god, it was so funny because he was dating like this stripper that he had like a stripper girlfriend that he like always talked about. Mm-hmm. And then like he went through a very rocky breakup with her, and so we got to hear all of that story. And then the James Blunt cover happened, and then I remember like when my friend was moving out of her parents' house, she was kind of like freaking out about finding places to live, and he was like, you can totally come sleep on my couch. And she was like 17 and he was like probably in his late 20s. Like it was so fucking weird. At that job, we also had another manager who this is actually really funny, who broke his back on a ski trip. He like launched himself off of a cliff, broke his back, and then while he was like bedridden with a broken back, he wrote an entire album about his experience and then made mixes and handed them out to all the staff to like listen. He was like, yeah, I was out of work for like 7 months because my back was broken, but I documented it in this really sick EP. Like, here you go. Let me know what you think.
Dude, just like wannabe musicians work at Atmosphere? Like what?
It's like folk singer mountain bros, like
that's so good.
Ultra marathon runner, like ukulele players. Yeah, it was interesting people, you know, fun times.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
My high school job was Toys R Us.
Ooh.
Which was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like my best friend at the time worked there, and so did her mom. So I got the job pretty easy. Shout out to Alyssa. Thanks, man. I had a pretty good time there. Just because everyone was super nice, and I was in with one of the managers. But we were located like in the parking lot next to ours. There was a liquor store, and then across the street was a strip club. So location, you know. But this one time, we had just closed, and the exit doors were still open because the staff was leaving, and I was waiting for my friend's mom because she was taking me to their place. And this couple walks in and just bolts past me, and I was like, ah, like before I could even say anything. Sorry. Oh. Before I could even say anything, I just choked. They just ran past me, and then my friend's mom was like, whoa, like you guys can't be in here, we're closed. And the girl was like, my boyfriend lost his mittens. He needs his mittens right now. And my manager was like, we haven't seen any mittens, like we just closed and like did our cleaning, so we would have seen them. If anything does come up though, like we can take your number and give you a call. And she just like started cussing, and they both left. And the guy dropped a cigarette, and my manager was like, we should probably like bring this out to them because they seem like they would like come back for this.
Yeah.
So I went out with my friend Alex, and he was like, oh hey man, like you dropped this, and the guy was like, oh like thanks, and like reached for it, and his girlfriend smacked it out of my coworker's hand and was like, they've poisoned it, like what? Super aggressively. And I was like, you just walked out the door 5 seconds ago. Like, you think we're that speedy? I'm like, also, why would we poison the cigarette?
I aspire to be that unhinged.
Yeah, I was just like, she was like... And then they stood in the parking lot just, like, flipping everyone off that was leaving. And I was like, dope.
Sounds like a first date I've been on, honestly.
But otherwise, Toys R Us was good. The dynamic was like we had a bunch of assistant managers, so it was like when you like ask your mom to do something and she says no, so you ask your dad.
Yeah.
Like I would like ask for a day off, and one of the managers would say no, and so I just like ask another one. So that was kind of nice.
Nice.
And then after that, I worked at Petsmart, and it was kind of the same dynamic. I really loved that job, but they just like couldn't give me full-time hours. That was the only reason I left.
Oh. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun though. We had some shitty customers, but
do you have any shitty PetSmart customer stories?
There was one guy. I was leaving and like I just clocked out, and there was a girl that had like just started the day before on cash, and when I was leaving, she's like help, and I was like, oh, what's going on? And this guy was saying that she was overcharging him for something, and so I was like, okay, no worries. Like I looked at the product and I was like, I'll go check what it says on the tag. He was freaking out over cat food he was being charged 70 cents, and he claimed it was 50 cents. So we had this thing called Pet Perks, which is like their loyalty program. And if you give your phone number, like that's all we needed, you'd get deals on things. So like almost every item in the store had like a Pet Perks tag, and it was just like a cheaper price. So I went back over and I was like, hey, do you have an account with us? He's like, no. And I was like, well, that's why you're getting charged this way. And I was like, if you want, I can take you over to this till and I'll just like refund it, set up your account, and bring it back through. Because I was, I was good at my job. He just starts freaking out and like yelling at me, and I was like, he's like, that's not clear, like it doesn't say that. And so I went over and I grabbed the tag that was on the shelf, and I said, and it's like big block letters that says with Pet Perks, like it's not just what the price is. And so I showed him that, and then he got kind of quiet but was complaining that he didn't want to make an account. So I just like grabbed my manager and I was like, I'm leaving. I'm clocked out. Deal with it. Yeah. But other than that, people were pretty good there. From like other jobs that I've been at, they were pretty nice. So
fair enough.
Some guy told me to fucking be quiet today.
At work?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So I work at a massage studio right now. Yeah. And we have like everything's online, so we have like forms that get sent to their email. And I called this guy this morning and I was just like, hey, I just wanted to make sure that you'd received your form. And the phone like cut out, and I guess he said like, I'm just gonna take a look. But I didn't hear that, so I was like, oh, like sorry, I didn't catch that. What did you say? And he's like, could you just be quiet for a second?
Okay, chill, sir. Like, what the fuck?
I hung up. I was like... And then he called back and I was like, sorry, poor connection. I'm ready to help you now. And I was like, that's so rude. I'm like, you could have just been like, yeah, just a second. Even that sounds rude, but it's way less rude.
Honestly. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, why are you so mad? That's the theme of this episode, really, is like, why are you so mad?
Why are you so mad? That could be directed at customers and or us. I guess after Atmosphere, I got fired from that job, by the way. And it was bullshit. It was an injustice. I had a really old phone because my parents didn't really support me financially. Like that wasn't really like a priority in my household, and so like I couldn't get like updates on apps or anything like that past a certain point, but we used a scheduling app that was all on my phone. And because that app didn't update, there was like a couple of weeks where I just wasn't getting my schedule sent to me. Like, it wasn't loading on the app at all. So I was like, oh, I have no shifts. It's fine. Like, I'm just living life. But then, like, after, like, a couple of weeks of me not coming into shifts, like, here's the thing. Like, if I don't show up for a shift, like, call me immediately.
Yeah.
Something's wrong.
That's
but,
so
like,
weird that they didn't call.
They waited 2 weeks, and then I got a call from one of my managers and was like, oh, no. What happened was I went in and I was shopping with my mom. This is the first instance. I was shopping with my mom. And we were, like, checking out. Like, we were at cash, and I was talking to my coworker. My manager, like, runs up. He's, like, the lead manager of the entire store. Fucking hate that guy. He, like, runs up, and he's like, Abby, what's wrong? Where have you been? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And both me and my mom were standing at cash, like, what are you talking about? Like, what's wrong? Like, nothing? Like, I don't understand. He's like, you haven't shown up for your shifts in 2 weeks. Like, this is crazy. Like, what's going on? Like, are you okay? And, like, both me and my mom were like, yeah, like she's good. Like, it's fine. It was like, honestly, like, I didn't even know I had, like, shifts, and I showed him my app, and they weren't there. And he was like, oh, you just need to make sure you call. And I was like, well, why didn't you call me when I was missing shifts? Like, why didn't I hear anything from you guys? He was like, I don't know, like, your manager said that, like, you weren't coming in anymore and all this stuff, and you, like, just decided. And I was like, huh? And so I ended up texting my manager, and I was like, hey, like, my app isn't working anymore. Can you text me my schedules from here on out? And then she texted me back and was like, your manager, like, the main guy, he was like, apparently told her that I, at the cash, had told her I was never coming in again and that I had quit my job and all of this stuff. And so she was like, so you're not booked, like, because, like, you told Murray that you quit. Sorry, what? I'm going to say his name because he's a fucking old white dude and I don't care about him.
That's such, like, an asshole manager name.
Yeah. He played a lot of golf, too. Like, he's fucking... Ugh. But he apparently had told her all this shit, and I was like, I never had that conversation. Like, my mom was standing right beside me. Mm-hmm. I would have not ever said that to him. Like, that's so strange. And so she was like, oh, well, I'll talk to Murray, and then we'll see what we can do, and, like, see if you're back on the schedule. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And every single time I called the store to try and talk to my main manager, they would be like, oh, sorry, like, he can't talk right now. Like, he can't talk. And so I was like, okay, can you let him know to call me? He never called me. And then I received a letter in the mail that was like, you need to send us a letter of resignation or you'll be considered terminated by this day. And the day that I got the letter was the day that I was supposed to send my letter of resignation. So I was like, huh? This is all very confusing for me. So I guess, yeah, I was fired from that job, but, like...
That's so unprofessional.
Yeah, and I was a good employee, too. Like, I did my job well. It was just, like, a 2-week stint where they wouldn't contact me if I was missing shifts, and I just wasn't receiving them. It's so strange. But then after that, I sold printer. No. Yeah. Yes, I sold printers for 2 weeks.
Nice.
I stood in Staples every Saturday and Sunday for 5 hours each day as an Epson representative. I also got fired from that job, but that was because I filled out my timesheet wrong and I missed a meeting one time because they had switched the days on me. Instead of Saturday, it was on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. And I filled out my timesheet wrong, and it was like the one error that I had made, and they were like, "Oh, sorry, we have to fire you. You filled out the time card wrong. That's very bad." And I was like, all right. And she was like, but you can just send me your letter of resignation. We'll consider you quit. And I was like, okay. So I guess technically I quit from that job, but really I was fired. Then I worked at another outdoor store, and that was one of the best jobs I've ever had.
Nice. Yeah. You just reminded me of... At Petsmart, I put in my 2 weeks because I got I got a full-time job. and I told Jesus H. Christ. I put in my 2 weeks, but I gave it to this one manager, and I told him, I was like, I can work like all of my shifts that you have me scheduled for except this one because I will be like starting my new job. And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it, like I'll set it up, I'll like let everyone know. And I said, cool. He forgot. I don't blame him. He's a nice man. Jeremy, I miss you. But I was at my new job and couldn't be on my phone until my lunch break. I opened my phone, like 6 missed calls from Petsmart, and I was like, what the fuck?
Oh no.
And it's this other manager who I didn't like. She would take smoke breaks like every 5 minutes. And so like when you call for a manager, she would just like not be in the store.
Lovely.
So that was annoying. But she's like, it was just like voicemails being like, where are you? Like, you have a shift, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I didn't even call him back. So I was like, I told you guys, this isn't on me. And then like a week later, I went and got my final paycheck. And I walked in like, oh, hey, like, what's up? And she was with like this guy that they were training because he just started. And she like in front of him was like, oh, it's nice of you to actually show up. You know, she was like talking really sweet, but like being super bitchy. She was like, we got really swamped the other day. It would have been really awesome if you showed up. And I was like, Cheryl, get me my paycheck.
I do not work for you anymore.
Yeah, I'm like, you can't talk to me like this anymore, buddy.
The fuck?
But yeah, it was funny. I haven't been back to that PetSmart since. I think my mom stopped going there too.
Boycott PetSmart.
Yeah, fuck those guys. Just kidding. It was a pretty great job aside from her. I left that job to work at a daycare though. That breaks my heart still.
Really?
Because I love working with kids. I worked there for a year. I love those kids with everything in me. It was just like the people that I worked with. Yeah. Not all of them. Like there's a couple of them that I would hang out with right now. Like they're sweet ladies. But some of them are really mean. Like the girl that I mainly worked with, when she was having a bad day, she would like take it out on me. And then just like the next day act like it didn't happen.
That's so strange.
Yeah.
What would she do, if you don't mind my asking?
Just like, daycares are really particular about how you handle like certain situations and like meltdowns and stuff. And if I did something slightly like wrong, she would just like snap at me. And we worked with babies, so it was like they couldn't tell what was going on. But then she just like talked to me like I was an idiot. And so I'd like go home and like want to cry, and then the next day I'd come into work and she would just talk to me like we're buddies. And it was awful. They also so like strange. Bullied someone out of working there.
What the fuck?
I remember as soon as I started working there, I like heard people talking about this one girl in a different classroom, and they would literally like just like look in the window of her classroom and like look at anything she did wrong or anything she like if she put something in the wrong place, like little things like that. They would like just watch her and then go to my manager and tell her, and to the point where she's like I fuck this. This is awful. Yeah. Everything was really great until I
have a thought, but continue.
I thought everything was good aside from like those bad days. But it was like run by this lady and her 2 daughters. They had 2 locations, and like the daughters weren't really at ours. But they're near the end, her one daughter started working with us while my like manager worked at the other location. And then shit went downhill. She would just like talk to me like I was an idiot, and there's just like a lot of miscommunication and like I don't know, but she this one day I walk into work and my manager's there and she, like, calls me into her office and just, like, tears me apart. And I got sent home and told to, like, think if I want to work there or whatever.
Oh my god, that's
and I was
so intense for a daycare. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was so bizarre. It was literally what happened was when I first started working there, I called in like a few times because I just wasn't. I like just came out of high school and I wasn't used to working a full-time job, so I was being a piece of shit. And then my manager was like, "Hey," she was like so nice about it. She was like, "Hey, if you work here, you need to like make sure you're working here like every day." And she's like, "Or I can't have you here." And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. I need it. I want to do this, so I'm gonna put the work in. I'm gonna be here every day." And then near the end, I had to schedule like an X-ray or something for something that was like pretty concerning. And I went and told her daughter, and she was like, "Well, that day doesn't really work for us." I was like, "Okay, well, if I don't book this day, then I'm gonna have to like wait another like 3 weeks before I can get in." And she was like, "Yeah, well, it would be best if you like did that or whatever." And then so I rebooked it and I told her, and I scheduled it so that I would just be like leaving work half an hour early.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like missing a day of work or anything. And she told me to reschedule again. So I just one day called in sick to like go to the appointments because I was like, I don't feel like she's gonna let me if I don't. And then when I called her to call in sick, she was like really rude about it. And then I think went and told her mom that I just like don't want to be here and like stuff like that. God. But it just sucked because I love that job a lot. But when you get told to like go home and think about if you want to work here or not, I was like, I don't if you're gonna talk to me like that.
No.
So
honestly, that's so strange. Like that's so inappropriate and just like, especially for like the situation. Like I understand like holding your employees to a high standard, but at the same time, it's like. That's not how you handle situations.
That's the thing, though. It's like when she sat me down, like, the first time, we had a conversation. And then, like, this time, I guess her daughter just, like, riled her up. But I know that if she would have, like, just sat me down and asked me what was going on and we, like, talked, it would have been whatever. But she was, like, so aggressive for no reason that I was like, I'm not even gonna say anything.
Yeah.
Working the daycare is really fun, though.
Yeah.
Like, just, like, the kids aspect of it. There's definitely some days where I was like, I need a minute. I need to go sit outside and not look at any of you right now. But
I love that. I absolutely love that for you. I'm not a kids person. I hated babysitting growing up. Like, that was literally, like... Because I just, like, I like doing my own thing. Yeah. Like, I don't want to entertain small children. Like, there is no part of me, even if you paid me. Yeah. The only small children I like are my little brothers. That's it.
That's fair. They're pretty like, easy to entertain, though. Like, I found them more entertaining.
I mean, I'm sure they are, but do I want to put in the effort to entertain? No. Like, not at all. Like, I will do my own thing, and if you're entertained by that, like, that's fine. But, yeah, no, I don't know. I'm just not a kids person, I think. Like, I could be if I had to be, but that's just because I'm a good worker. That's absolutely nothing to do with whether or not I like kids.
That's funny.
I think that, like, I don't know, my pet peeve, after, by the way, selling printers and working in another outdoor store, I turned to coffee, specialty coffee. And I was introduced to that world. I was surprised. I feel like the place that I started working at really, I had a connection, and I think that's the reason why I got the job. They really took a leap of faith by hiring me, but because I'm such a diligent, hardworking, quick-learning employee, I'm really selling myself here on this episode.
Are you trying to get employed right now?
I mean, I might be. I actually just got denied by a job offer. It was for the same company, but a different position.
Oh.
They told me I just didn't have leadership abilities, which is questionable, but I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't need it to jeopardize. But yeah, no, coffee was fun. But I would say it introduced me to the world of micromanagers. I had this one manager that, like, it's literally, like, my least favorite thing. And I have one at my current job, too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, like, just any time that you are just minding your business, doing your job, they burst in and they're like, hey, actually, maybe you should be doing this. Maybe you should be doing this way. Actually, I think I know a better way for you to do this.
I hate that shit. Don't be that person.
And I know that, like, when I'm training people sometimes, like, if it's a new person and they're coming in, they're struggling with, like, a task or something like that, I'll, like, kind of come in and be like, hey, you know what, take your time, do your own thing, but, like, just so you know, this is a strategy I used to do this task, and if you want to do it, do it. If not, that's fine, too. But, like, God, the people that, like, come in every single time, and if you're, like, already working on something, they come in and be like, actually, could you be working on this right now? I'm like, no, I am currently working on this task. I will finish it, and then I'll get to the next one. But I'm not gonna, like, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just an ego thing, but I generally am very good at the jobs that I do.
Yeah.
And I have my own way of doing things that might not make sense to a specific individual, but gets the job done, like, efficiently and well. And I'm open for criticism, and I'm open for, like, hearing feedback, but I'm not open for someone to come into my routine and just, like, fucking, like, throat punch me with information that I just really did not need in the moment.
That pisses me off so much.
Yeah.
Like, especially when they comment on, like, the order in which you're doing something. Like, I don't need to explain that why I'm doing this first. Like, I'm obviously gonna get all of my tasks done.
Yeah.
I just, like, hate when people are like, oh, like, you know you have to do this. I'm like, yeah, I work here every day. Just like you. I get it. That's kind of an issue right now, but I'm not gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I like my job a lot.
I like my job a lot too. That's the thing, is I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of where I've come. I've had my issues, and it's like keeping myself grateful. Like, obviously I don't want to be treated like shit, and I'm not at my current job at all. But, like, well, that's a little debatable sometimes.
We'll edit that out.
But I do really like my job. But it's like, yeah, there comes to a certain point where, like, I just see things happen to me and to my coworkers, like, in any job that I've been in, and I'm like, that's does not sit right with me. Like, that is bad management. And I think it comes down to my ultimate toxic trait, which is I am a raging anti-capitalist who works in e-commerce. Like, yeah, contrarian to my very core, I guess, but it just, like, I'll see things and I'm like, I cannot believe that the corporate structure that I work in is shaped like a hierarchical corporate structure. I hate that. Why is that the way things are? It shouldn't be. Like, what? Dude, like, you can't. But I don't know. I just like to think I can make a change, like, literally in any job I'm in. In the first, not the first cafe job, I guess the second one, I remember our team ended up going from, like, all male managers to all of them leaving because they were like, we're not being treated well. So they all left at the same time, and the owners of the company, like, scrambled, and then it was all women in positions of, like, management. And so it was like the bakery, the bar, the kitchen, the baristas, like, everything was managed by women. And I was one of those women. But we ended up making it, like, we put up all of our signs from, like, climate change rallies and stuff like that, like all up like on our shelves. We made sure, because we would usually put up a pride flag for like just the day of Pride, but we ended up keeping the pride flag up literally all year round. The only time that we changed it was when the owners came in and forced us to put the Canadian flag up for Canada Day, but we were all very reluctant. We were like, why don't we just keep the pride flag up? That sounds like a good idea to me. But like that pride flag was up like year round. And you know, it ended up turning into like such a great team. We were all like queer, and like, I mean, there was like, everyone was like, just, it was such a diverse and like bountiful and beautiful workspace, and like everyone was just so friendly and kind, and like of course we had like bad days and stuff like that, but that was the kind of work environment that I like to be in, especially being in the downtown core right next to Parliament and stuff like that, because we would like, fucking Jason Kenney would like come in like on his lunch break to get some baked goods from us, and we're like, here's all the gay kids and our climate change posters, like, fuck you, Kenny. But you're giving us money. But yeah, no, it was a great job, and that's like what I want to do in like any workspace that I go into, is just like make it a space that is just so beautiful, loving, welcoming, diverse, like, and just treats employees kindly and like hears them out.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't have to sell myself for this job that I applied to anymore. I don't know why I keep doing this, but I already lost it. I didn't get it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You'll get the next one.
Yeah.
Because you're such a hard worker.
Yeah.
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 My current job is pretty friendly. Like, I like everyone. But the job I had in between the daycare and this one was at Roots Canada.
Ooh, yeah.
Which majority of their stuff isn't even made in Canada anymore.
Oh, no. Wait, that's depressing.
It is. Their leather it's made in Toronto.
Okay.
Everything else, well, mainly everything else is made in, like, China.
Oh, alright.
Calling them out.
Yeah.
But when I first started working there, I had a blast. I had so much fun. My manager and I were, like, buddies. All my coworkers were just awesome. And then, like, it obviously it wasn't a job I planned at being at long. I just needed something. But right before everything shut down, my manager was leaving. And when we came back, it just, like, was the worst. I think it became the worst job I've ever had.
Oh, no.
Like, not only was it incredibly boring, just the people in charge sucked. They were just sucked. So at the point where, when we first reopened, it was me and, like, my work best friend were running the store for, like, months.
Oh my god.
Like, they would send people from other stores to, like, cover for us, but for the most part, we were there, like, almost every single day. Yeah. And we just got treated like shit. There was a manager at a different location that was kind of overseeing our location. And by that, I mean, like, they would just check in every once in a while and make the schedule. And she sucked. She sucked. I'll say that out loud. You were so mean. I'm not going to say your name, but you were really mean for no reason. Like, a few weeks into reopening, I felt sick and obviously was panicking, so I called in. And then I ended up being fine, and the next week, my sister ended up getting COVID, and at the time, I was living with her. And so I called that manager to let her know that I wasn't going to be able to come in the next day because I had to go get tested. And she literally laughed. She let out, like, one of those, like, like, kind of like, of course you're calling in. Oh, and I was like, listen, bitch. But, I don't know, I just feel like ask if my sister's okay, maybe. You fucking bitch.
Well, and in these times too, like managers that are like, you know, when you've been sick, you've been not coming into work, and that doesn't sit right with me. It's like, dude.
Yeah, like what do you want me to do? If I come in, then you're gonna have to shut down.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm like one day just like wake up with a sore throat. If I'm feeling like, oh, this could possibly be something, I will call in, and I'm not going to come in because I'm not inconsiderate.
No, but even, like, especially now, because I'm the same. Like, prior to all of this, unless I'm, like, really sick and I think I'm going to, like, give it to someone, I will go into work. Like, a sore throat, a headache, like that, I'm still going to go to work.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, it's not like I mean, I guess twice in, like, a few weeks span, she's probably like, oh, she just wants to call in, blah, blah, but we're in a fucking pandemic.
Yeah,
exactly. They sucked really bad for that. They had this whole speech about how they care about us and that we're more important than the job. And I was like, you're full of shit. Me and my, like, two close friends went in to just, like, change prices and set up to reopen, like, put up the plexiglass and stuff like that. And we got a phone call from, like, the district manager being like, if you guys don't have your PPE stuff in, you don't have to reopen. Like, you don't have to if you don't feel safe. At that point, like, masks and stuff weren't mandatory. But yeah, they're like, if you don't have your supplies, you don't have to open. The next day, didn't get our supplies, and I wasn't working, but my coworkers called and were like, hey, we didn't get our stuff, we're not really comfortable. And they were like, well, you're still gonna reopen, but they sent one of my coworkers, like, 40 minutes away to get PPE from another store.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then we still didn't get ours for, like, another 2 weeks. And they just didn't care.
Yeah.
So, like, the following day, my one coworker quit. Like, a few people quit just because they weren't taking it serious.
Yeah.
I don't know. After that, I was like, I hate this job. I hate all these people. Not all these people, but, like, I was like, it's so boring. I'm risking my life to stand here and do nothing.
Yeah.
So I put in my 2 weeks, like, a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Well, no, I, like, had my final day a couple of weeks ago.
One job, Brittany. Brittany has one job.
Yeah, I need another one, so if you know anyone that's hiring.
It's so hard to find a job right now.
I know.
Literally anywhere.
I'm really
it's
thankful.
Insane.
Like, that's why I stayed there for so long, because I was like, can I really afford to be quitting a job right now? Because my current job is more likely to close down if anything happens than the mall, unfortunately. Because Jason Kenney is an asshole, and I want to fight him. And if you're listening right now, I will fight you. Set up a time.
Francois Legault and Jason Kennedy can both eat dirt. Y'all fucking suck.
Truly.
And if I see you in these streets, it's on sight.
Honestly. We're not even gonna get into it.
Yeah. No, Alberta is a hellfire right now.
Yeah, we have, like, the highest cases in North America.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. But also here
patios are packed.
Yo. That's insane to me.
It's, like, mainly old people.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so I feel like they're just like, I'm gonna die soon anyways. May as well.
I mean, I know that we've sworn our podcast to not be about COVID at all, but, like, it's just like, I mean, when I moved here initially, my first job when I was working here, because I got so bored that I was like, I need something to do, so I'll just get a job. I worked in a kitchen at a restaurant, like, literally 5 minutes from my apartment now. But PPE wasn't like required or anything for like the first like month or so that I worked there. For the customers, for us, like nothing. We didn't have to wear masks while working.
Yeah.
And like just the fucking audacity of people, and the majority of clients that come in are old people, and I'm like, you realize y'all are the high risk category, right? Like, I'm gonna be fine. You, not so sure. Like, what are you doing out of your house?
It's always old people. I literally got a phone call the other day from some guy asking if he'll have to wear a mask when he comes in. And I was like, what planet have you been living on? I'm like, what have we, huh?
It's literally been a year, sir.
Yeah, like it's not like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hopefully, though, we'll all be back soon.
Yeah. I want to be back so hard.
Yeah.
I just want to get vaxxed.
I'm so sorry for that sound I just made.
Oh, I need to
literally, I haven't been touched in so long. Like, the needle's gonna go into my arm, and I'm gonna be like, thank you.
I need to say quickly, when I moved in this chair while Abby was talking, it made a fart noise. I did not fart. It was the chair. It's a new chair.
I mean, I didn't hear it through the headphones, but maybe the microphone picked it up.
Okay, so I just brought it up for nothing.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I'm so excited to get vaccinated, and I'm so excited for this to be over. I don't see it happening anytime soon because I live in Alberta.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it'll ever be over. I think eventually we'll have enough people vaccinated and it contained enough to, like, take pressure off hospitals and ICUs and stuff like that. It will run through the population, mostly. But it's all about prevention, right? And, like, trying to curb and just, like, keep things limited. And eventually it will become one of those things that we're just going to have to deal with it with, like, variants and stuff like that. Oh, this is a bummer. Fuck this. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I saw a tweet that was like, I'm so excited to tell my kids about this period of time, like, 20 years from now. And I was like, I'm going to make it sound like I went through a zombie apocalypse.
Literally, yeah.
I'm going to be we were trapped inside for days, months.
We were fighting in the streets, like the grocery store. All of the shelves were empty. There was no toilet paper. Like, fuck. It was insane.
Oh, you know what's really nice right now, though? For those of you who live in Edmonton, on White Ave, we get a lot of preachers that come with signs and megaphones and just stand on the corners and tell you that you're going to hell and that being gay is wrong and blah, blah, blah. Bleh. There's, like, it feels like a superhero team. There's, like, a group of people that, like, I think just get alerted when there's preachers on White Ave and are there.
Oh my God.
Are just there with speakers, bigger signs, and it's awesome. Like, literally,
Wait,
I was walking to the grocery store the other day.
Yeah.
And, like, just to pick, like, one thing up. So, like, I walked by, and they were, like, the preachers were setting up, and then I came out of the grocery store, and these people were already there.
Oh my God.
I was like, they're like, it's incredible. I love it. Anti-evangelical task force. Yes.
I love that.
I want to join.
I love that. Honestly, sign me up.
But it's just awesome. I feel like
that's new too, hey? Oh my God.
I quit. Sorry. Yeah, it is new. Like, we've seen it before, but, like, lately it's every time there's a preacher, they're there. And it's so great. I think it should be illegal to stand on a public street and yell at people.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't necessarily, like, if you're standing on a public street and, like, quietly professing, that's appropriate. I feel like that's, like, more appropriate.
It feels like harassment.
Yeah. But, like, if you're, like, you know, just standing there, like, being like, hey, like, what's up? Like, do you have a minute to talk? Individually, but standing on a street corner and, like, That feels wrong.
It is, yeah. Mm-hmm. My friend was telling me
but
that
also, please don't come up to me and bother me about Jesus in the street.
Yeah.
That happened to me the other day.
I hate it. I'm like, shut up.
I laughed, and then I felt very bad. But then I was like, wait, no, this was your embarrassing thing that you did. I don't have to feel bad about it.
Well, I just, like, isn't a big part of... Because it's always, like, Christians. Yeah. Isn't a big part of Christianity the fact that, like, only God can judge? Like, who are you? Fuck you.
Exactly.
We'll talk. We're going to have an episode on religion.
We're going to have an episode, because I was like, I have notes.
Abby's going to get shunned from everyone she knows. And
I just might. No, my mom has my back.
That's good.
We don't see eye to eye on a lot of those things, but she still loves me, which is why I respect the shit out of my mom. Every single episode, I just mention my mom and how much I love her. Yeah. And I hope she enjoys that.
I don't mention it enough. Hey, Mom, I love you. I know you're listening, because you're a homie.
True. Our true fans.
Well, we should probably wrap this up before we get into some topics we probably shouldn't talk about.
We should. We talked about the pandemic for way longer than I thought we ever would. Mean but to. Honestly, like, it's important though, like, especially right now with like working and being in close contact. Like, everyone who's working from home, like, oh, you're stuck in your house, that fucking sucks. Yeah. But like, having to deal with a regular job and then also like just the extra risk factor of being at work every day and if you take taking transit to and from work, like, it's absolutely just, you're putting yourself at risk every single day. Yeah. You're not being treated any better or given any extra perks for doing this job. Like, that's the thing. It's like, we should be all making more money because of this pandemic, but it doesn't work that way. Yeah. But it's all linked, you know, in these times. Like, it's weird to be working on site and in the middle of a pandemic. Fuck it. Fuck this timeline. Yeah. Yeah. I just want to go to the movies again. Yeah. The movie theaters are open here. And honestly, they could be. I don't even know anymore. Like, we get... I'm getting so mad. We had new restrictions put in place, and it's always just for, like, gyms. They're like, restaurants, okay, we'll close, like, dining inside, but you guys can eat outside. And malls never close. I'm gonna send you a funny tweet, even though I know you're not on Twitter, but... Oh, please. Just some J. Kenny bashing. Because I'm not on Twitter. Oh, perfect. I think my most, like, when I was on Twitter, my most liked and retweeted tweet was just, fuck Jason Kenny, except, like, literally as many times as my character count could possibly manage. So it just said fuck Jason Kenny over and over and over again, and I think it had like 141 likes and like 87 retweets or something like that. And I was like, that's pretty good. You're a celebrity. I'll take that. Yeah. That's crazy, dude. I was on Twitter for a short period of time, but I got it. I think my most liked one has like a couple thousand, and I'm pretty sure it was just me bashing BBJ. Sheesh. We have that BV. Ew. Oh, look, I dropped you now. It's even. That was really gross. Yeah, I didn't like I wish that. I could use, like, the sheesh in a better context. Sheesh. 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 God. I need it to sound more natural. That's what I'll practice tonight in the mirror. Instead of my fucking, I can't even remember her name, Jennifer Coolidge impression, I'll just practice sheesh in the mirror until it sounds normal. Oh. Yeah. Makes me want a hot dog. That didn't sound like her at all. Taking the dog, asshole. Those were really bad impressions. Yeah. It's fine. We should have an episode about her. I love her. Oh my god, I love Jennifer Coolidge. Please. Queen. Okay, we're getting distracted. Yeah.
The viewers want to leave.
We're trying to end this. Yeah. Okay, we're going.
Okay.
All of our social medias. Oh, wait.
Brittany.
We'll wait for Brittany to readjust.
Stupid idiot.
Yeah.
Hey.
All of our social medias are linked in the description of every episode, so you can follow us there. You can engage with us on Discord. That would be absolutely awesome.
Shout out to Doug Hoyer for the intro and outro. This is the final shout out I'm giving my boyfriend. I'm just kidding.
Oh, really? Okay, are we canceling him? I don't know.
No, I'm kidding. Malachi Wilkins made our logo, so shout out to him too. And thank you to everyone who's been watching and supporting. Yeah. Not thank you to whoever went and disliked all of our YouTube videos. You're bitter.
Oh my god, yeah, I noticed that.
Did you see that?
So I check every day, and I noticed literally, like, we had no dislikes before, and then the next day, someone had went through and disliked every single one, and I'm like, ooh, one of us has got a hater. Like, come on. Like,
no, it made me laugh really hard.
I know.
That was great.
I was like, honestly, we need the engagement. I appreciate.
Also, I just need to be humbled.
Yeah.
I need a couple dislikes here and there.
Exactly. We have to make this look natural. Like, we can't act as if we're perfect all the time, even though... Have you seen this episode? Have you seen how many times Brittany dropped her phone?
Yeah, I'm like not on today.
It's fine. We're just, it's an episode about work. Okay, anyways. Bye. Thanks for listening.
See ya.